Hello, everybody. David here. So, I was talking with a very dear friend of mine about my next possible project in Aram City, um, and I wanted it to be a small thing, not a big thing. Oops. And they asked me if I had any fast food joints in the city, and well, I'm not sure. So I checked and I went through, and there is one pizza place. That is it. There is a location on the UCL build that in real life is a pizza joint, but it's not actually a pizza joint yet in the game, I think. And so I thought, let's go searching for some interesting buildings that are fast food joints and do a build. And I went for a long Google search and found a very pretty McDonald's building. It's actually in Melbourne. It's going to be a little hard because it's got lots of curves, but it should be really interesting. It should be a one episode thing to do. So, while I go back to where I want to put it, wish me luck and cue the music. And welcome back. So, after recording montage, I was kind of annoyed it didn't really work the way I wanted it to, and I was bored and irritated, and it just anyone who's creative knows the moment. And so the solution, at least for me, is to go away and leave it to digest in my brain. And the next day I came back and thought, I could fix this thing this way. And what about this thing? And what about that thing? And 2 days later, it looks quite different to the finished montage project. But I like it quite a lot. I did an exterior with tables and lights and gardens and stuff on the balconies and more parks. I even did a couple of custom trees. This one I'm not terribly happy with, except on this angle. This angle I quite like how it looks, kind of scruffy because you can see the branches. This side it looks like a green candy floss on a stick. But I can't get better unless I practice. So that's a practice. This I'm a little bit more happy with. I kind of wanted it to be a little bent like an acacia tree. Like it would be like a baby acacia tree. Even though I used no acacia wood of any kind or leaves. I think it's birch leaves and dark wood fence post. But to me, Australia is like a full savanna. Like, I know that it's not the entire of Australia, but the first thought in my head is that amazing mountain that's got a different name now. Uluru? I think that's the name. That's the proper local's name. So to me it's savanna biome. So I just wanted a little bit of savanna vibe. I also added extra texturing. I changed this section and the one on the other side that's balances it out. Took away the bricks and turned it into just packed mud, because it just, from a distance, it does a better contrast. You can tell that it's a different section, which I wanted to do. I also added granite as a texturing agent. I'm still not very good at texturing, but I tried to make it so it looks like it's maybe drying out or something. So the lines of, most of the lines of the granite look like sort of diagonal, like cracks, kind of. But I like it because from a distance it sort of adds extra depth to it. The building's, I think it was finished in 1938, so it's old and stuff. Inside, I actually did interior. Shock, horror, gasp. I tried to give it a vibe of, like, the McDonald's was a really different restaurant when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s. Yes, I'm old. You don't need to tell me that. So I wanted to capture that feeling, that family-friendly feeling, instead of the sort of soulless corporate thing that it's got now. And my bias against McDonald's as a place is probably because I cannot eat anything but the chips. I'm extremely allergic to gluten, so only the chips are edible. But back in those days, there were so many like little details that were gentle and fun, and I liked them. Like you could have a birthday party and you got ice cream cake. Maybe it was just that one McDonald's I went to when I was a kid. I don't know. Had the best playground. So I made a water cooler because I only just learned how to do it, and I thought, why not? Free water is always good. I did the kitchen, even though I've never actually been in a McDonald's kitchen. I figured, you've got your places to fry your chips and your nuggets and stuff, and then you've got the hot plates to do the meat and stuff on, and then you've got like shelves with stuff, and a lot of the stuff is sauces. So I did barbecue sauce, mayonnaise, mustard, and tomato sauce, or ketchup for you Americans. I just found interesting shaped things to put on shelves. And cake. Cake is the only food that I could figure out to put just on a shelf. There's also the drive-through windows out here as well. So you got drive-through windows. There is also an upstairs. The bathroom is empty, so I won't show you the bathroom. There's also a little tiny elevator made out of scaffolding, because scaffolding works like an elevator. Because there was nowhere else to put it. And you got to have an elevator for accessibility. So upstairs is I tried to use as many posters that weren't the same as possible, but there's a limited amount of paintings in vanilla. So, but I really enjoyed making this area. There's also a skylight and balconies. That's also toilets upstairs, but there's nothing. Tables. I think this one has a second. Yes, it does. This side's a bit thin. I'm not entirely sure what happened because the other side's a bit wider, but it doesn't really matter. And this is my chair. I had a habit there was a time when I was with a partner who was a brat, and I used to try to avoid him by spending all day in like a restaurant or a cafe or something. Find a little chair somewhere off the beaten track with a nice view, and only one chair, so no person would disturb me, and write and drink coffee and eat junk food. It was great for writing, in your 20s. So I this is mine. My seat. My seat. Even though I can't sit in it. And I have the view of the awesome museum, because I love that build so much. So I'm quite proud of what I've done on this. It's a bit more detail than I had intended. I was going to just do the outside. See, it's a bit wider. I don't know why it went a bit wider, but that's okay. Nothing's ever perfect, and if it's ever perfect, it's boring. Yes, so I really enjoyed doing this, even though at points it drove me completely up the wall. I don't think I'll use it as a stage, because to be honest, rebels don't need they don't need to go to cafes or restaurants, because they're more likely to get arrested and murdered. But it looks nice, and it's just pretty. I think it is actually bigger to scale than like the real one, but I don't care. I like it. Looks really cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching the montage. I tried to choose some relatively cheery music. To get the whole thing in, I have to zoom in my head. There we go. So, until next time, ara ni tasa.